What if what we saw in the mirror was not really true, but simply a reflection of our inner voice, our inner reflections, perceptions about how we truly feel about ourselves, simply reflected out back through the mirror, but also back through the world around us. I've had a tricky relationship with my reflection for most of my life. Not just my relationship with what I saw back, but the stories I held about myself, the beliefs and thoughts, how I felt about myself as a person, and how that was echoed back by looking at myself in the mirror. And that went beyond just reflections in the mirror, but also in my world. Because the thing is, how we perceive the world and how we experience reality is always a reflection of how we feel about ourselves, how our internal reflection is colouring the lens of our external environment and our reality and how we experience all aspects of life. Hi, I'm Nordia, and I work with people who have done the inner work, who have been on a journey of really shedding and letting go of all that they are not, and are ready to take that a step further, to begin coming into harmony with who they truly are beneath that, to be in harmony with self and build a life that reflects your core values, your truth, all that you really are at the center of your being. And I'm so excited to be sharing more on this topic, which is so important to me and all of the work I do, as it all centers around coming back to that connection within, seeing the power of living life from the inside out, and using tools like mirrors as powerful pathways to get that reflection and the pointers as to where you may still want to get curious and build a better connection with yourself, which, when done in a powerful, intentional way, will not just be reflected back in the mirror, but across your entire life. So over most of my life, I've had a tricky relationship with the mirror. But what I have come to realise is how powerful it can be when used in this intentional way. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of my most simplest practices to begin working with the mirror, and how you can expand that beyond just the mirror, but using your entire life and world as a reflection back to your relationship with self. And if you'd like to take that a step further, I'm actually holding space for this topic in a 3-hour meditative wellbeing workshop in November on the 8th in London, in person, using mirrors as a pathway to really shed and let go and come back to that truth beyond the reflection. I'm doing that in collaboration with an amazing artist, Miranda Charlotte, so I'll share more about that at the end too. But firstly, I just want to spotlight this concept idea around how the world and the mirror is reflecting back what's happening within. And you may have noticed this for yourself, that when you're in a better feeling state and feeling good about yourself, you begin to see how that ripples out in your world. So something that maybe bothered you before no longer has an impact. Or when you're feeling a little bit better, you might catch yourself in the mirror and give yourself a bit of a compliment, or feel a bit softer about certain things. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, when you're not feeling so good, or when you're feeling particularly harsh, when that inner critic is coming up, very easily that begins to colour your lens across everything. All of a sudden you look at yourself and just notice the flaws, just notice the things that at that time feel so much worse than they really are, or things in your life that maybe are not going as well as you hoped, or the perception of that is the case, all of a sudden start spilling out into all areas of life. Everything begins niggling and bothering you. And that's just one example of how your state of mind and how you're feeling within and how you're feeling about yourself can very quickly begin colouring your lens of reality. Now, the good thing with that is it allows you to bring your power back to yourself. It means that we can also intentionally begin cultivating a more positive experience within, which will begin then rippling out and having the same effect but in a more positive way. And it's a very easy and quick thing to test, because it only takes working on a positive belief or shift in one aspect in terms of your relationship with self, that you can fairly quickly begin seeing how that alters your perception of reality and how things around you begin shifting to match that. So this is a very easy and simple concept and idea to test for yourself in real time, to notice the difference that it has. And one powerful and quick way to see what the things are that potentially you hold about yourself, so the beliefs, views, perceptions, feelings that you have about yourself, is to use a mirror and to notice what comes up as a really simple starting point. So I'm going to invite you to hold a bit of space for your time for yourself, either right now if you want to grab a mirror, or pause, or just watch this and come back to the end, as a way to just initiate and bring some awareness as to what some of the stories are that are potentially coming up that you may want to release if they're no longer serving you, or if they're colouring your lens of reality in a way that just simply doesn't feel good. So this is a moment to pause and grab your mirror, or come back to this when you have a bit more time. So when you have your mirror, and I'm using this beautiful upcycled mirror by Miranda Charlotte, the artist that I'm collaborating with. So when you have a mirror, the invitation is to simply take some time to gaze at yourself softly and to just simply notice what begins coming up. So the intention here is just awareness, noticing without judgment, just curiosity, to really pay attention to what is arising. So maybe what are the thoughts that are coming up, the sensations, anything, visuals, or maybe your mind is wondering. There's no right and wrong thing to do here. The invitation is to simply gaze at yourself and notice what is brought up within yourself. So when you're ready, just having a moment in silence, just to gaze and just notice gently what is coming up for you. And if you do find yourself going all over the place and wanting to center, coming back to the breath and coming back to just connecting with your gaze, and just gently inviting curiosity and just simply noticing what is coming up as you gaze. And you may want to pause the video here and just continue this for as long as you feel comfortable, for as long as you're noticing what is arising, by simply noticing, gazing, and just holding that awareness. And as you begin to notice what's coming up for you, the second phase of this is to begin getting curious. So beginning to maybe question or inquire about what is coming up. So just as an example, if the thought is around something that doesn't feel too good, so maybe I'm not enough, or I don't look great, whatever the thought, statement, thing that has arisen is, to just begin getting curious as to, firstly, is that really true? What is this based on? Maybe where is this coming from? Maybe there's an underlying belief beneath that, or maybe it's coming from a fear, or maybe you're noticing that, no, I'm just not feeling great today, so there's no truth to this. Whatever it is, and again, there's no right or wrong, just begin getting curious around what's potentially at the root of whatever is coming up for you, or what other insights might be coming up as you just simply get curious around what's behind whatever's coming up. And the intention of this is not to go digging for trauma or making something bigger than it is. It's doing this all through lightness, but just curiosity, so that we can begin almost unpicking the habitual thought or the habitual conditioned way of being, so that it doesn't grip onto us so tightly, so that we can begin loosening it up a little bit to maybe get a broader perspective, or maybe to consider some alternative views. It's just to get really clear on what is happening as we look at ourselves in the mirror. And often this will bring up some interesting insights. So you may then want to journal on them, meditate on them, whatever you're intuitively called to do, just to get deeper into that inquiry process. Now, as a kind of second phase of after you've connected with yourself in that mirror, allowed things to move through, you may then want to get clarity on whatever has arisen, the things that don't feel good or feel like they're potentially illusions or stemming from fears or old versions of yourself. You now have the choice to begin to consciously release them. Now, obviously, if you join our workshop, we'll move through this together to give you a really structured, intentional, yet gentle journey to release them. Or you may have your own processes that you already use to consciously begin releasing things that no longer serve you. And with any form of release, I always encourage the art of conscious completion, which for me means just holding space for whatever you need to move through or shift to allow whatever you're releasing to truly be let go. So there may be emotions that come up, there may be practical things that you may need to tie up loose ends on, there may be space that you need to hold to actually delve deeper into it. It may not be a simple thing to just shut out and go. There may be an unfolding of further things that you're called to explore and to unravel, to allow whatever these things are that we're releasing. Sometimes these shifts can be instantaneous and we can truly feel like we've released, and other times it's almost like unpicking a thread and finding that there's more deeper layers that potentially we're called to explore, to begin releasing and letting go. But once you've moved through that in whatever way feels good, and as I say, if you want to explore this at the workshop, do find out more. The invitation is then to come back to the mirror and begin connecting with what is beneath what you've released, beneath the noise, the projections, the illusions, to really connect with what is at the center, what is your truest essence underneath that, your most authentic self, the love, the truth, the essence under all of the noise. So again, if you've got a mirror up, this is a great way to just do a second round of the eye gazing, but with the intention of looking beyond the reflection. So we're not just looking at the reflection, we're not just being aware of what's coming up, because there may be more things arising, but we're intentionally beginning to tune into what's behind that reflection, what is beneath the surface, at the core. And you may want to again just do this in silence, gazing with that intention, and it might be just a subtle sensation, or you may find more insights and truth beginning to arise. So you may want to pause the video here, or just to stay a few moments or come back to this at another time. But just repeating a second round with that intention and just noticing if you can tune into that essence beneath. And again, stay in that space as long as it feels good. And over time, you can build up a relationship with feeling more familiar with connecting with that space. And as you become more familiar with connecting that space, it will become easier to discern when you're connected with that space beneath the noise versus when you're getting caught up in the stories, the projections, the illusions that are not really true. But we're so often in autopilot of being stuck in, which often is just an indicator of our state of mind, or can be an indicator of the attachment that we have to that noise. And just using the mirror is a powerful pathway to just notice that difference, and an invitation to begin coming back to what is beneath that reflection. And following all of that, you can then begin extending that to your entire world. So noticing when things around us are really just connections to what's happening inside, and when we can see and notice that and have that awareness, how we can invite ourselves to connect with what is beneath that at the center of it all, and how when we do that and begin cultivating a better experience and relationship with self, how we can see how that starts influencing the world around us. And that's really the intention here, to bring your power back to self, to start living from the inside out, which we're always already doing, but when we can do that consciously and intentionally, that's when we can really use it to our advantage, to our leverage, to begin living more harmoniously. And if this is resonating, do find out more about the workshop that I mentioned. It's on the 8th of November in London. And during this journey, we'll be consciously working through the Bloom Blueprint, which is my 4-part journey of release and renewal. So consciously letting go and surrendering of anything that's holding you back. And we'll again use the mirror as a way to spotlight these. And then once we've released, rooting back into the body, back into our body's wisdom, so that we're grounded and can more easily connect with that wisdom and connect with the truth underneath all that we've released. But we'll then be holding space for what's emerging from this clear, neutral space. And often this is in the form of inspiration, intuition, creativity. And this is where Miranda, the amazing artist I'm collaborating with, is bringing her beautiful expertise of upcycling mirrors as a way to express what's emerging, the truth that's coming through from that centered place. And we'll be together upcycling mirrors like this, to help capture what's been emerging as a way to almost affirm the truth, so that you've got a tangible reminder of that truth that you can keep coming back to and more easily connect with. So it's going to be a beautiful way to not only journey through this, but have something as a reminder to take home with you, and a mirror that you can begin using as an ongoing practice, an ongoing way to connect with self. And we'll then at the end go into our 4th and final unfold phase, which is really cementing that. We'll be activating the wisdom within, so that we've got that guidance to also connect with, to come back to that truth. And we'll also be using the mirror in a really powerful way to actually tap into the version of us that has already released and let go of all of these things that may be keeping you stuck or keeping you small, or giving you that experience of not having a good relationship with self. So this is incredibly powerful work, but also be super fun because of the creativity and the journey that will go on together. So do click the link to find out more if this is resonating. I also offer 30-minute free exploratory calls if you just want to jump on a call to find out more about the workshop or what else I offer. So do get in touch. And as always, if these videos are resonating, please do like and subscribe, comment if you've got questions, and share with anyone you feel may resonate with this message as well. But thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear how you get on with the mirror practice, how that's working for you, or anything else you feel called to share. And hopefully I will see you on the next one. Sending so much love and gratitude. Thank you for being here.